the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame and Baton Rouge Rougarou Studios. TK joining us over at Court Street Cafe in Port Allen. Please go ahead and like and share this video. Let people know we are on right now. We're going to tell the topics we're going to get into today. Final Four week. I mean, the Final Four is in New Orleans, and it is a list of blue bloods. You got Kansas, you got Duke, you got North Carolina. Storylines galore with Coach K, trying to win in his final season as coach at Duke. Villanova, who's really been probably the best basketball team over the last 5-6 years, and won 2 national championships. They're, I think, third or fourth appearance maybe in the Final Four. They've been on a roll. So these are the blue bloods of college basketball going back decades, and then Villanova in particular, since probably the early 80s, has been one of the top teams and has had won some national championships. So we'll get into that, obviously, a lot more during the week, but we'll kind of tell you where we were on the gambling side and our takeaway of the weekend. LSU baseball, I don't know what happened. They flipped the switch sometime Saturday morning. Don't know if they did the old famous players-only meeting or what, but they looked like hot garbage last week. All of a sudden, Saturday and Sunday, this was the team that they're capable of being. And we'll get into that. They destroy Florida on the road. How about this? They beat Florida scored 16 runs and beat Florida on Saturday in front of the largest crowd Florida's ever had, over 8,000 in attendance at their new stadium. That's only 2 years old. And LSU just pummeled them. So that was pretty cool. And then they did the same thing on Sunday, dominated on Sunday 11-2. So we'll break down some LSU baseball. They're feeling pretty good about themselves. And hopefully the fans will turn out in attendance this week, a 5-game homestand coming up for LSU baseball. Also, some other spring football for LSU. There's been some interesting takeaways that have come out of spring practice for LSU. One of the things, the catchword is accountability. I mean, everybody's saying it. What does that mean? TK will break it down for us as well. Let's bring in Tommy right now. The red-hot Tommy Chrysan, who has got some extra money to spend this week. TK, maybe a little crab meat on top, huh? You want some dough?
We're going to get the crab meat, get the double Jack on Ice instead of the single Jack on Ice. Hit 3 out of 4 at meatandpotatoesusa.com on the Elite 8. The only one we missed was Arkansas, but see what happened. Took Villanova on the money line early Saturday, won some money. Arkansas was plus $1.80. I said, okay, we're going to manage some money. We'll take what I want and try to double it. And of course, Arkansas didn't get it done. But then we hit both favorites yesterday, Kansas, which I gave out on Sports Shorts Radio. And then we hit North Carolina. I knew the St. Peter's Cinderella story. The clock was going to strike 12 on that. We got that one right. We'll be all ready for the Final Four, which is down in New Orleans. And, Roddy, I got a couple of thoughts on the Final Four. We had March Madness with all the upsets and the St. Peter's story, the Miami story. We had overtimes. We had buzzer beaters. We had controversial officiating. But now we get down to the Final Four, and it's Blue Blood City, which you got, Duke, North Carolina. That'll be the second game Saturday. You got Kansas. And, hey, Villanova is going for their 3rd title in 7 years. They won it in 2016. They won it in 2018. But they lost a key player to a torn Achilles tendon Saturday. Right. That guy's out. He will not play in New Orleans. Jay Wright's a great coach. Looking for his 3rd title in 7 years. That's strong. So we ended up with the elite of basketball, which when you get to the Elite 8, the better teams usually win. And that's what happened this weekend. And should be an exciting Final Four in New Orleans. And, first game's going to tip right after 5 o'clock. That'll be Kansas-Villanova. They'll take a break. 45 minutes later, you'll get Duke, North Carolina, the Coach K story. Carolina whipping them in the last game at Cameron Indoor. And then Monday night, it'll be all the marbles, the national championship.
It would be, there's so many synergies, right? To North Carolina playing in the Dome. That's been a place they played in the Dome. Won a couple national championships in the Dome before. Of course, the most famous Michael Jordan shot back in the early 80s. Duke with Coach K. It's going to be a coronation of his career all week long. You're going to see features of him and everything else. Then you talk about Kansas, and it's amazing when it's Kansas, the whole recruiting violations thing just doesn't really get talked about. It's LSU. They bring it up every broadcast. particularly when you get close. But Kansas with Bill Self and the legend offered $250,000 to Zion Williamson, just somehow just doesn't get brought up. It's amazing. It gets pushed under the rug as if no big deal, never happened, whatever. What are you talking about? And then Villanova, like I said, they arguably Wright's the best coach in college basketball over the last decade, and now they've got to work that out for them. They were only going about 6 deep anyway. Now they lose one of their starters. I mean, I don't know how they're going to have a chance to be competitive. I think just looking at the line, take Kansas giving up the 4 points for sure against Villanova. But Duke and North Carolina, these two going head-to-head. Now, it would have been great for them to go head-to-head in the national championship game, but that would have been a big if. The fact that these two are going head-to-head in the Final Four, my goodness. North Carolina spoiled Coach K's last game at Cameron Indoor State, at the I don't know what it's called, Field House. When his last game when they had all the former players, and I mean North Carolina drummed Duke. And so kind of put a somber mood on that. Will they do it again? This is so great for North Carolina fans. I mean, this is how they want it to be. They want to send Coach K home with a loss. That's just so great. I mean, the ratings for that game, Tommy, are going to be so high because of not only is it Duke and North Carolina Final Four, it's Coach K in his final game. I mean, potentially it's going to be incredible. So really looking forward to it. Brady's going to be the super host down in New Orleans. I know he's already got a couple parties planned where he's hosting the college coaches from all over the country. So it's going to be a lot of fun to have the Final Four down there this weekend.
Hey, one thing I want to point out, I said this on Hold the Rope Radio last night. I've said it for a long time. Duke, North Carolina, we all know the ACC, Tobacco Road, all that. Put this in your mind, people. They're 11 miles apart. That's like going from Alec Box Stadium to Denham Springs, okay, to Greystone Country Club. That's how far these two major power basketball schools, Dean Smith, Coach K, all the legendary players, that's how close they are. And some people forget that. I mean, again, it's like going from Alec Box Stadium to Greystone Country Club. You're looking at 11 miles.
Closer than that time. Greystone, Alex Box is 16 miles. So closer than
that. Okay. Yeah. And then, you could probably get from Duke to North Carolina quicker than you get from Greystone to Alex Box.
That's like going to O'Neill Lane, basically. It's like going to O'Neill
Lane. There you go. I mean, when you put that in perspective, it's an amazing story. And look, we had Eric Asher from New Orleans on Hold the Rope last night, Hold the Rope Radio. What this is going to do for New Orleans. Now they've lifted all the mandate stuff about having vaccines and masks. This is going to be a big boom for the city of New Orleans, the surrounding areas, or even to the North Shore, even as far here as Baton Rouge, and maybe some people will come to Court Street Cafe at Port Allen. The people are going to flood into this town. It's great publicity for Louisiana, for New Orleans, and it's going to be an economic boom with all the hotel rooms, the restaurants, the gas stations, the grocery stores, the casinos. I mean, everything is going to get affected by this Final Four being in New Orleans. New Orleans is a great place for sports events, from Sugar Bowls to Super Bowls to the New Orleans Bowl, the Final Four. You had the Louisiana Derby horse race the other day. It's going to be an amazing weekend for the city. On top of that, some 4 great basketball teams.
And not everybody's fired up to have the Blue Bloods. Look at Chance's comment over there. I mean, Chance, too much blue blood for his blood, right? He wants them all to lose.
Well, look, I've had enough of the Coach K story already, and it's going to get shoved down our throat from now till Saturday. And then if he wins, we'll have to hear it Sunday and Monday. If they lose, he can fly back to Duke, and that'll be that.
The one thing about New Orleans, it is, and I say this every time there's a Super Bowl and the debate comes up about, where's the best city to host one of these types of big events. I mean, New Orleans is it. The reason is simply put, everything is so condensed. You can walk from your hotel rooms to your restaurants to the arena. You can take a pedicab, whatever. It's just the best. And obviously when you got 4 fan bases coming from all over the country, you throw in fans that just come anyway to Final Fours, and media and coaches. And, it's obviously like a mini coaches convention in college basketball. It is the ideal city to have any sort of super event like this, because again, everybody gets to see everybody. I remember when the Saints were in the Super Bowl in Miami, and I love Miami and I go there often and have a lot of friends there. It's just, the stadium is literally 20 minutes away from downtown Miami. You got people spread out all over. You may go to Miami for a Super Bowl and not know the Super Bowl is going on in Miami, and that's impossible to happen in New Orleans, because everywhere you go, you're going to see signage, you're going to see fans, you're going to feel the buzz and the atmosphere, and that's what makes this weekend so special. No question about it. Let's talk a little bit about LSU baseball, the Tigers, Tommy. I mean, I don't know that I can remember a team. Well, no, our own Buzzy Heidel was on a team in 2008 that had a losing record in the SEC. They were on the verge of not going to the SEC tournament for the second year in a row under Paul Mainieri. This is back when only 8 teams went to the SEC tournament, when they had 12 teams in the conference. And Coach Mainieri in his first year was the 2007 season. This was 2008, and they had a losing team in the SEC. They were on the verge of not going to the tournament, which meant they weren't going to go to the NCAA tournament. And they had a brand new stadium that was going to open up in 2009. And they had not gone to a regional in 2006 under Smoke Laval, 2007 under Mainieri, and on the verge of doing it again in 2008. And then all of a sudden they won 23 games in a row. That was the biggest switch I've ever seen flipped in my life. This one is like similar to that. I mean, this team looked so bad recently. And then all of a sudden, Saturday and Sunday in Florida against a good team on the road, this was the team that we thought that they could be. And not that they're out of the weeds at all when it comes to pitching, but they only threw 7 guys, Tommy, in 3 games. They throw 7 guys in a game normally. They threw 7 guys in 3 games. If they can get that kind of production, they will be a very good team. I still have tons of question marks about their pitching, but for this weekend, it showed up, and the offense just put their foot on the throat of Florida on Saturday and Sunday.
Well, first thing, the lefty that Barcode at Florida through Friday night, he has beat a lot of people. He will beat a lot of people. He'll be a first-round draft choice in the draft this summer for Major League Baseball. But then they responded. We talked on Sports Shorts Radio Saturday morning. They need more energy. They need more enthusiasm. Somebody needs to grab somebody by the shirt and wake them all up. Well, apparently somehow that worked. Now, they started very fast. But Hilliard did a good job early in the game Saturday, and they got a bunch of runs. And then the energy appeared. I mean, we saw things with the whole team coming out of the dugout. You saw some energy and some life. They beat a ranked Florida team in Gainesville. Like you said, they had their biggest crowd ever for a game on Saturday. And they scored the runs. They hit. Only a couple – no errors on Saturday. They had 1 error Sunday. They changed some things in the lineup. Friday night, they switched Doty and Thompson, second base, shortstop, defensively. And then Doty remained at short Saturday and Sunday. And, they changed up the batting order a little bit. Nothing gets a baseball team's attention more than a change in the batting order. I used to coach, and my first 6, 7 guys were always the same. I just believed in setting it up and let them go. And then our bottom guys could move up a little bit if they had a good game or something. But all of a sudden the players look and you see something different. It tends to wake you up a little bit. I kept using that term Saturday. You got to wake up, LSU. You're a better team, I think, than what we're seeing. Now, here's the key. Tennessee's 6-0 in the league. Everybody else is bunched in there at 4-2 and 3-3. LSU's 2 games out of first in the West at 3-3 because you got everybody's up there. Missouri's really bad. Tennessee looks really good. Everybody else is you can throw them in a hat and pull them out. Ole Miss got swept at home by Tennessee this weekend. So here's the key. Can LSU keep this up? Can they beat Louisiana Monroe tomorrow night? They got Auburn game, and we remind folks that's a Thursday, Friday, Saturday thing due to television. So can they – and Auburn's not all that good. Can they win these games at the box? Got Grambling coming in next Tuesday. 5-game homestand. They can win 4 of these 5, most importantly, 2 or 3 of the games against Auburn. Then that'll be the LSU team you said. You make a great point in 08 when they won the 23 straight. You don't really win anything in March, maybe not April. Coach Burtman used to always say, what you do in May and what you do to get ready for the postseason. That's when the real teams, the cream rises to the top. So it was a great weekend against the Florida Gators, but I think we got to see more. I'm like you. Hopefully these fans will show up Tuesday night. Weather's supposed to be fine for Louisiana Monroe. You'll be on the call for the folks that can't get to the game. Then they really need to fill up the box as much as possible Thursday, Friday, Saturday against the Auburn Tigers.
Kirk saying, great way to bounce back this weekend. Hopefully Coach found that winning combination with all the tinkering. He said Gervais has been the bright spot and Hilliard deserves to be in the rotation. I'll also say this. I have been on the Sam Dutton and Grant Taylor bandwagon, those two freshmen, since they arrived, and they showed up yesterday. Dutton's line, 3 2/3 innings. He only gave up the one hit. Now, he did walk 3, and he struck out 1. But you keep in mind, when they pulled him in the 4th, LSU had a 4-0 lead. He was shut down, threw up zeros. That's what's important. You know, Dutton had only had about 47 pitches or so, had been like the most he'd done all year. So you knew he wasn't going to go long, but he was able to stretch out yesterday to 71 pitches into the 4th. And then Grant Taylor came on and took him home 5 1/3, and he went only 63 pitches there. These are 2 stud freshmen that are strike throwers that they'll build around them. The Gervais kid, no question about it. I've liked him all year long. I mean, he's got a little, he's super tall. He's got that little 3/4 side slinger arm, and so I think they really got something in those 3 guys. Don't know exactly how they'll use them per se, but I've got a lot of confidence in Gervais, Dutton, and Taylor because they throw strikes with 2 different pitches, Tommy. At the end of the day, that's the main thing. 2 different pitches, they throw strikes. They've been more consistent than everybody else. Hilliard, does Hilliard deserve to be in the rotation? I would say ideally for me, he'd pitch on Sundays. With his experience, with his success, particularly last year in the back half of the year, the lack of velocity, you can look at it a couple different ways. You go with a hard thrower on Friday. You come with a softer thrower with a big curveball on Saturday. Maybe it screws them up a little bit. I don't know. In my mind, you throw your least effective pitcher. If you've got 3 starters, the one who's the best goes Friday, the second best Saturday, and the third best Sunday. But anyway, you don't have another option. He's going to be in the rotation right now. Whether he pitches Saturday or Sunday is up to coach. But I really like Dutton, Taylor, and Gervais. Have liked them all year long. You didn't pitch Fontenot at all because you didn't need him. That's good and bad. You'd like to maybe get him an inning worth of work, but at the same time, hey, that's a great thing that you didn't need him. So things trending in the right direction. We'll see in a big way this week, ULM Tuesday. And then, of course, as you mentioned, Auburn Thursday and Friday and Saturday. Auburn can really swing it. So that's going to be a good test at home. Let's talk LSU football for a minute. TK, spring football underway, the first year under Brian Kelly. And we keep hearing this word that keeps popping up. What's the word?
SWAT team or accountability?
Accountability. That clear. The last time we heard that word thrown around so much was under Nick Saban. Another time we heard that word thrown around a lot was after Archer left. And what that tells you is that things started to get loose at the end of whether it be Archer, and Holman took over, whether it be the last year of DiNardo, things started to get a little too loose, and they needed a tightening of the belt, and clearly that's happening under Kelly.
It really is. I mean, Ed Orgeron really quit working and let the program go to pieces. I mean, they had less than 40 scholarship players when they played Kansas State in the Texas Bowl. Okay, turn the page. That's over. You can't change that. Brian Kelly's trying to change the mindset. I don't like the word culture. He's trying to change the mindset and the mental state of the program right here in spring practice. I've only been out there a couple of times. Quarterbacks are rotating. Offensive linemen are being moved around a little bit. And he's continuing to recruit. Got a big tight end guy committed from St. Louis area. And Brian Kelly knows what he's doing. I'm learning this a little bit more each time I read something about him. He knows what he's doing. He left Notre Dame a lot better than he found it. He left Cincinnati a lot better than he found it. And that's what he's now going to do with this, or that's what he's attempting to do with he and his staff with this LSU football team. And, the SWAT team thing where the players can get points for doing well in the classroom, doing well with other things. They can lose points if a member of your little team, misses a meeting or he's late for a meeting or a training room session, whatever it might be. He's done it. You pointed out to me, I was unaware, but Matt Deggs brought that to the Raging Cajuns when he was an assistant on the Tony Robichaux. And I wasn't aware of all that. You were talking to me about that before we started the video this morning. And I remember you told me Robichaux said it worked. Well, if Robichaux said it worked, I'm good with it. I believe it. And so that's what Brian Kelly's doing with LSU football now. And I think that's a good sign. I like that the mental thing is being changed because it had become totally fractured at the tail end of Orgeron's tenure.
I remember the thing that Tony told me about. So when Deggs came over there in 13 or 14, what he did was that the accountability thing was a real deal. It brought he used the word competitiveness. It brought a competitiveness to his team and created a culture of everybody competing at all times, whether it's in the weight room or the classroom, on the practice field. And you had those little pods, those little SWAT teams that Kelly calls them. Well, I think over there with UL, they actually do them in pods of 5. I mean, you got less people, on a baseball team than you do on a football team. So and what it was, like you said, every time, hey, all 5 of us showed up for tutoring. All right, we get a point. All 5 of us showed up on time and did our weight workouts with the trainer. Get our point. And then obviously you had some competitive parts to it. You had guy winning a competition of some sort, and so he liked the everything mattered part. In the fact that it made his players, he felt more competitive and tougher and wanting to win, and that culture paid dividends. I mean, the Raging Cajuns hosted a super regional and were this close to going to the College World Series when Ole Miss finally went for the first time under Mike Bianco when Matt Deggs was an assistant. And so when you're trying to change something, this works. And so clearly they're getting the players' attention. If anything, Tommy, it's just something new. Now, is this something he's going to keep and do forever? I don't know. Did he do it every year at Notre Dame? I'm not real sure. But for right now, it's working this year, and that's all you got to do. You got to do it from year to year. You got to come up with something, a little gizmo or a little gadget that's a little bit new from year to year, but it's getting these players' attention. It's probably fun, to be honest with you.
Well, one of the things I like about this SWAT team thing, the competition, you got to learn to compete, okay? And when you can learn to compete, that's going to be better when you get on the football field. Ronnie, as you know, I coached travel ball for many years. One of the biggest things I ever did was at the end of practice, you've seen this, put half the guys on second base, half the guys at home plate. And we do a relay race, see who could win, and make them compete. And, they had to tag hands. And A, I was conditioning them because they were running. But B, more importantly, I was teaching them to compete. That is what separates great players from, pretty good players. And if Brian Kelly's doing that, I think that's a positive. Now, the time will tell come Saturdays in the fall, but I like it right now, and I think LSU football fans should like it.
Yeah, the LSU football fans should be fired up about this, and this is kind of you get to see. Look, you're still dealing with 18 to 20-year-olds, 21-year-olds, and probably in a lot of ways, some guys are older, but in a lot of ways, guys are going early. LSU's recruiting stars that want to go early. You got to make it fun, man. You got to keep these guys entertained. They've got ADD. They're focused on getting, NIL and posting social media and getting on their phone and all that. You got to come up. You can't just be a work grind, even though it really is a job. You have to somehow make it fun at times for those players as well. And this kind of thing absolutely does that. So looking forward to the spring game. Going to be exciting to kind of get a peek at the Brian Kelly, and obviously the quarterback battle is what everybody's going to want to see at the spring game. TK, tell us about Court Street Cafe.
Hey, Court Street Cafe, breakfast, lunch, dinner. They got a patio out front as the weather's starting to get a little more springtime looking, if you will. They got a lunch special today, red beans and rice with a fried pork chop. They got lunch specials every day, dinner specials at night, boiled crawfish and shrimp on Fridays. Connect with Court Street Cafe on Facebook and Instagram. They do a great job posting the specials, any other events they got coming up. They're going to be involved in the big fair, the Bear Fair over here in Port Allen this coming weekend. They're going to be supplying all the food for that. So Court Street Cafe in Port Allen, you need to check it out real soon.
One last thing before we go. Let's see. Somebody asking Kirk asking who starts at center for LSU. I'm just going to say with Cruz, I mean, clearly they like Cruz out there, although in my mind, like I told you all year long, I'm a DiGiacomo fan. I'd like to see him play center, but pretty much they're not going to do that. The other
is he talking about that, or is he talking about football?
Oh, who starts at center for football? Oh, okay. Maybe that's what he's talking about.
I think he would have said center field if he meant baseball, but I'm not sure. But either way, no, I like Giacomo at center because of the speed. He can run some balls down, especially if you're in a big park.
Also,
he meant football. Okay, he clarified that. We don't know. They've moved some guys around on the line, Kirk, and the media is only allowed out there for like 15 minutes. But several of the people that are covering the Tiger football are writing some really detailed, good articles about who's there, who's not there, and some guys moving around. And
ask T-Bob if anybody's going to know. Ask him, right?
Yeah, T-Bob would know. Does he have any eligibility left?
Is there like a center chat room or something that
T-Bob Todd McClure combo should know who's going to start at center.
Todd has no idea. He just knows about Bulls and Wood right now.
Bulls and Wood, huh?
Let's see. The other one is let's mention this. You saw him, Coach Jay, get frustrated and swap Thompson and Doty this weekend. Moved Thompson from short to second and Doty from second to short. Your reaction?
I like it. I mean, you remember, we've seen guys get switched positions, and again, it wakes you up a little bit. You get complacent when hey, I'm in the lineup every day, and then Thompson has struggled defensively. So, I think it was a good move. It's providing a spark. He may have to switch it again in a couple of weeks. I don't know. And I want to go back. You like Dutton. I like Dutton. Skip Bertman's been high on Dutton, and Coach Bertman made a point last night. Dutton's in Gainesville, throwing against the Florida Gators. He was playing high school ball in Alabama last year. So, aside from the 3 walks, he had a phenomenal outing. Look for more of Dutton going forward.
He was able to throw 90-mile-an-hour fastball down and away. He reminds me a lot physically and how he pitches of Doug Thompson. He doesn't have Doug's big curveball, but physically he reminds me a lot in his mechanics.
We need to get Doug to go show him how to spin it.
As far as the move with Doty, I mean, look, you kind of had to do something. You were getting to the point where you're sending a message to Thompson, and you're just hoping. I mean, look, when Thompson's on, he's a much better shortstop than what Doty can give you. Doty's going to be able to, his range is going to be less than Thompson's. He's, but they just need some consistency right now and a spark. You don't have any options other than those two. Especially, offensively, obviously, Thompson's still got to be in there. He's better than a lot of other people you have on the bench. But this is a hope that you send the message to him and he gets things changed around. But I hope Thompson's able to go back because long run, Thompson's got to play shortstop. You're a better team if he's at shortstop than with Doty.
Chance makes a good point. He got hit by 8 pitches in one game. The record's 10. I mean, hey, that's getting on base. So that's not the worst thing in the world right there. So,
and by the way, I hope Jay takes a page out of and looks at this stat from Saturday and Sunday. The game on Saturday was under 3 hours. The game on Sunday was just a tick over 3 hours. Like, let's play fast. Let's not have a million pitching changes. Let's be aggressive. Let's have some enthusiasm. They did that on Saturday and Sunday. Don't know if it was conscientious or not, but they played quicker. Thank you, Florida, for faster games.
And I think tomorrow night it's a non-conference game, obviously, with Louisiana Monroe. Louisiana Monroe is a middle-of-the-road team. I think that's going to be an important thing, like for the eyeball test. Like, how does this team respond? Do they turn the page on getting the Florida series? Do they get out here and play with enthusiasm, as Craig's talking about, and wake up like we talked about on the radio Saturday? Time will tell. It's a long way to go, a real long way to go, and the SEC is all bunched up right now, other than Tennessee at the top and Missouri at the bottom. Everybody else is like the same team right now. We'll see if the cream rises to the top.
Also, don't forget, for you college baseball fans, the Baton Rouge Rougarou are a summer college wood bat baseball team that plays in the Texas Collegiate League. Home games in June and July here in Baton Rouge at Pete Goldsby Field, right over by Memorial Stadium. I was there yesterday for LSU Unis versus BRCC. Beautiful ballpark, covered roof, going to have beer and daiquiris and lots of inflatables and funds for the kids. Go to brrougarou.com. You can get a $100 season ticket for a family of 4. That's right, 4 people, 24 home games. It's $1 a ticket for only $100. And I've had some people ask me, well, do you have individual tickets for sale? Yes, a family 4-pack for $100. The average cost is $4 a ticket. So if you walk up to the game, you're going to pay $8 for adults and $5 for children. You get your tickets before the season. It's only $4 for an adult if you buy the ticket booklet and you only use it for yourself. No, by the way, you can share it with other people. You can forward it to them. You can also do all kind of other things. So go to brrougarou.com. And we'll see you on Wednesday for more Sports Shorts Daily.
All right, Ronnie, and hey, everybody fired up about the Rougarou. We sent out a press release. Great coaching staff. We'll have roster information in the future. You know, Wes Terrio and his staff are going to do a good job, and people are getting fired up about the Rougarou.
All right, everybody. Well, thanks for watching Sports Shorts Daily presented by LeBear's Casino. Please like and share this video. We'll see you on Wednesday. Have a good